Okay, this week, the last intellectuals are really stupid podcast. Here we go. So we have some good segments, and there's a bunch of great stuff in the news this week to talk about. We got the world's falling apart. Corporations are trying to take us for every dime that we don't have. Joe Biden is going to be the next president, and CGI buttholes. But that's just us. Fuck. That's just in the news. As far as the segments go, we have Guess That Movie, the viewer grab bag, where we'll be discussing where does the thinking come from in the brain. Who did the cops kill this week? Because it's always important to remember the cops kill people and rarely suffer any repercussions from it. Shit take with the question, how do we help regular Americans economically during the quarantine? And No Way Out, where Fauntleroy will have to talk his way to a free game of a girl that he's purchased to play games with on egirl.gg, which we should probably talk about at some point, some other time.
Before, yeah.
So the cannoli virus is ravaging everyone and everything I guess it seems the whole planet except for South America and Africa. Is it killing anybody there yet?
I was gonna say it's not gonna hit Madagascar, and if it's new ed playing, also Greenland.
Yeah, that seemed to be kind of the case. Like, you got Northern Italy. I'm sure they got, like, if you ever play, what is it? Is the game Pandemic?
It's called. I think it's called Pandemic.
Yeah, but it's like this disease game, and every country has, like, like ports, airports and naval ports, that kind of shit. But Madagascar is the hardest one to get to because I don't think they have airplanes. You can only get in there by boat. And usually some guy sneezes in China, and Madagascar closes all their ports. That's usually how the joke goes.
The first place that shuts down is Madagascar, and you can never get to it.
Yeah, today being a third world country is gonna save your life instead
the
of
one time it's useful.
Yeah, the one time. I can't imagine what the response would be if you ever seen like African TV, like where they talk about like homosexuality.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you imagine them talking about coronavirus? Like, just.
Do you think it's? I don't know. Is it bad to say like it would be like voodoo? Like it's.
I don't know if it's. I don't know what the fuck they believe, but I mean, they seem to handle Ebola pretty good, I guess. But like when it comes to homosexuality, that's just the only thing I ever see about anything about any kind of African TV show is like whenever they're talking about homosexuality, they just like. They treat it like it's it turns you into like a hooved demon with a tail or something, and they just cannot fathom the homosexual things that people do, as if every person in Africa is straight somehow. It's really strange. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how. I was about to say less developed countries handle the coronavirus, but we're already seeing that with America.
Yeah, it's funny. We're not the most developed in terms of our infrastructure, I feel.
Yeah, especially considering
things like this.
Yeah, Trump has got rid of the pandemic squad of the CDC in like last year because that was like an Obama thing. Yeah, because
it was Obama. Yeah.
Yep, and then I think there was another thing I read that Obama. Like administration people, when they were, because there's like a handover of like, hey, like you got all these new people in these positions. Hey, how do I do my job?
Yeah.
Sometimes they probably can help out a little bit. And I guess when they were telling the Trump officials, like one guy's sleeping and nobody gave a shit. So here we are today. Remember, vote Republican if you want to die.
Yeah, pretty much. So
the biggest issue that seems to be going around with the coronavirus is how the fuck do we help anybody and what do we do about it? And so far, I mean, before anything's been helped for people, it seems that they've made like negative interest loans available to corporations. If I understand that correctly, the Fed is now like loaning out like they pay you to take their money, I
I was gonna
think.
say, where are you getting negative interest?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's what quantitative easing is,
Hmm.
to like cut down on inflation. But like any economist will tell you, I don't understand what I'm about to say, but this is what economists say: is that the way you fight inflation is by increasing interest rates. I believe is what they say. So like how you manipulate the market or the economy is by going up or down in interest rates. But there comes a point where you can't go below zero,
Right,
you
right.
know? So like when you're at that point, like, well, what do you do? Like at some
Um,
point,
where's the...
like I think what it is and what a lot of economists worry about is at some point the economy has to be strong enough for you to increase those rates back up without it
Mhm.
shutting everything down. And the problem is we have not been in that boat for a while, and Trump has always been begging, the Fed to cut rates. Like, oh, the slightest some guy sneezed in California, 3 years ago. Oh God, Fed, we gotta cut rates now. Walmart's gotta buy back all their stocks immediately because the CEO's gotta go to fucking Hawaii. Like, I mean, that's basically,
Mhm.
kind of what happens, though. I mean,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
this kind of circumstance, like, I mean, that's what a company would want to do is, throw the money into stock buybacks so that, the people who own the stocks can cash the fuck out and get the fuck out, Like, I don't know if there's a degree of like insider trading there, but in this moment, does anybody care? Who fucking
Oh,
knows?
they should, but they are probably too concerned with
Yeah.
how they're gonna, handle their own lives.
Yeah, I mean, the IRS probably can't catch them. I mean, the IRS has been fucking neutered since '96, so all well on that front. So, what is it? What happened here in the news? We got the McDonald's don't want to
This one I
help
found pretty
6 people.
interesting.
They don't want workers to get paid sick leave. So they like, you know, what's that word where people the people in government, there's other people and they're like, "Hey, do the thing that I want you to do." What the fuck is that called? I can't remember right now.
Like a regulation, like a mandate.
No, it's not from the government. It's people in the people. They meet with senators to get them to bring them in their
Oh, like
lobbying. That's
lobbying.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
So essentially, McDonald's lobbying to make sure that workers don't get paid sick leave because companies like Walmart, McDonald's are going to be the biggest one to suffer if that's the case. But
It's
at the
funny, there was a lot of doublespeak in this too, because like the McDonald's rep is saying, yeah, we think that is like yeah, of course it's important to like make sure the people that are working are getting taken care of, but we just need to also be sure to look for the investment of the franchisees, like the franchise owners too, not just the people who are working.
I like how so like what a franchisee is or what they mean by that in this instance. Do you
I
like
had an
somebody who
idea, but it's
like
like they
what I
bought into it basically, like
like in this instance, what I'm pretty sure I understand based on advertisements on these kinds of restaurant chains things and other stuff is that you rent the franchise brand,
yeah,
like you like license it to be
yeah,
like
yes, yeah.
I'm the head dude in this area. This is my store, but I'm like
Hmm.
licensing it from fucking McDonald's. So I think what they're trying to say there is like within the McDonald's empire,
Yeah,
we're
definitely.
trying to make sure that the small business owners, aka the
Right,
franchisees,
right,
are
right,
taken care of. But
right.
really, yeah, you're right. It is double speak for we want to make sure that the people, our investors and our board of directors and our CEO are all the most taken care of people, and we don't give a fuck about anybody else
Hmm.
because it doesn't hurt. I mean, it does hurt the franchisees people, but it really hurts us corporate. It hurts the bottom line because that's money that you have to pay out, and they don't want to have to pay out money. They want to get the government to pay out money.
Well, and then doesn't this, were you talking about that? Like, it's not just the corporation that's paying for the pay time off.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
just
it depends on the circumstances.
government
A lot of
too.
the cases in Europe, they'll have like family leave, and in those instances, it'll be a mixture of like the company pays a certain amount of money, and then the government pays the rest of the money if you have like 6 months off for like having new children. For
Hmm.
sick leave, I think it depends. That one I think is usually more on the corporation,
Okay.
but it also could just as well come from the government, and then that way corporations don't have to worry about that expense. But then the government obviously just has to like recoup
Foot the
those
bill.
losses in another way.
Yeah.
But when you have more, like, oh, so you don't have to calculate in paid sick leave when hiring people. So then maybe potentially you have more people on hand so that people calling out isn't the end of the fucking world, which is
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
opposite of the case of every place I've ever worked at.
Yeah. Yeah. What's up with that? I feel like that's a culture that's like becoming more and more prevalent,
Yeah.
where places are just trying to do more with less. Like everywhere I see the workplace is like a skeleton crew.
Yeah,
It's like,
I
how is that
think
sustainable?
I mean, I think well, one part is just greed. Like
Yeah,
they,
for sure.
and on the other hand, so I've seen a decent amount of economists talk about this, and I think the depressing reality of the market is that most of the gains, the economic gains in the last 30 years, haven't been to any place other than finance. And the reason for that, or because of that, all these different, department store chains and things, Amazon, every place, they all have their own fucking credit card and all that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where the gains are. Getting people loaded up with debt that's owed to you. Nobody
So
from
backwards.
yeah. Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. It used to be a time where you just had a good or had a service and then somebody bought it, but that's no
Yeah.
longer the case. So
Right.
there seems to be
Right.
something very fundamentally wrong with the economic model of America where all the gains have only gone to finance. But because all the gains only go to finance, that means that the only way you can make gains are through finance.
Yes.
Because if
Yeah.
you have one guy who is out competing everybody, you either do the shit he's doing the way he's doing it, or
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be out competed and just destroyed. So like it kind of forces like the skeleton crew, the fucking shilling of these stupid credit cards nobody wants, and all this like behaviors that are bad for regular folk, but
Yeah.
good for the bottom line. And
Yeah.
then we'll
Yeah.
just weather the storm, when everybody's up to their ears in debt 1,000 years later.
Well, it's not even gonna be 1,000 years. It's like happening now.
Yeah, everyone will be dead
We're
now.
reaping, we're reaping what we're sowing.
Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. I think there was an I don't know the specifics. This is just multiple news posts I saw where the airlines used all their reserve cash to buy their shares back, and then I think it was Boeing. Boeing wanted like what an $80 billion bailout from Trump, and it's
Said
like
he'd do it.
and it's like I mean the zeitgeist surrounding finance in America is one that blames the person who doesn't have money. When it
Mm-hmm.
comes to individuals, if you don't have money, you made a mistake, you were stupid.
Yeah.
There's so many quotes we could throw out, a fool and his money are easily parted. You get what you pay for, that kind of shit. Like things that punish the person who bought the shitty product, not things that punish the person who sold the shitty product or
Yeah.
was deceitful. Even
Yeah.
though if America were a more Christian nation, would not be on the side of the fool. They
I
would be on this
know.
they would be on the side of the
Yeah.
fool in the
Yeah.
sense that you did nothing wrong. This other person
Yeah.
is deceitful and
Yeah.
is cheating their brother for something that means nothing.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
and so I don't know. I don't understand why people are stupid, but that is just some bullshit that happens in the world. I guess. Oh, we should probably do a segment now. This is a good time for a segment.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so let's we're gonna roll into the guess the movie.
Okay.
I'm gonna read off some 1-star reviews of a movie, and Fauntleroy's gonna have to guess what the movie is.
Oh
So
God, I hope I'm
I
ready
think
for
I think
this.
we'll I'll tell you the genre.
Okay.
So the
Good.
genre is horror,
Okay.
and you'll probably realize that as soon as I read the first thing anyway. But just to let you know,
Yeah.
and those
Yeah.
at home they can guess along. So here we go. This review is by Stubbins, 1 star. He titled his review "Unbelievable Garbage." Too long, didn't read. This movie is boring, stupid, and uninteresting. Watch The Witch instead if you're looking for a modern, slow burn, demonic horror movie. Longer review. This movie thinks it is an intellectual Oscar powerhouse. It's not. For 75% of the movie, it's a drama with unlikable characters, over the top acting, Oscar baiting performances, and worn out story. It's filled with scenes where nothing of note happens. But since the music is music is blaring insidiously. I guess these are meant to be scary. Oh my god. I love this guy's review. Characters do things not because of motivation or because that's what someone in that situation would do. They do things because the story requires them to be at that place at that time to do things that are meant to be a mystery to the viewer until supposedly the big reveal at the end. Okay, here we go. Don't waste your time with this movie. It makes no sense. So what is it? Is it does the movie explain it to you or does it not make any sense? It starts out well, but then it gets lost in a lot scary intended scenes which capital D owned space T connect in the end or have any logic. I'm pretty sure this guy fell asleep during the movie. Absolutely all over the place. With only 15 minutes left, I was still wondering if it would come together in a satisfying and cohesive way. It did not. While I definitely do understand the plot and outcome, the film was just a series of sad and surreal events, only some of which had a clear connection. When watching, there were so many directions and plot twists that seemed possible. In the end, it seemed as though loose ends were being quickly tied together, culminating in a very anticlimactic and disappointing conclusion. I don't.
So it wasn't The Witch?
It was not The Witch.
I don't know. I don't watch a lot of horror movies.
Well, that's your first problem.
It is also my first problem.
It's the best genre.
So it's not an. No, I don't know. I was gonna say Annihilation because that has a lot of.
No, that would have been a good movie to do. A lot of people didn't like that movie.
Yeah.
This movie is an abomination. Not for anyone under 21. This movie celebrates demons in hell. It starts off full of suspense, then turns into a very dark, horrific movie. I do not condone watching it. Any movie that rejects the Trinity or is against heaven goes against what I stand for.
No.
Okay, thank you. That's not. I like how this is the take the person had. It's like, did you even watch the movie?
Yeah,
That's not.
Well, that's their lens, though. You know, like
It's
they
fucking
just can't
dumb.
look
Their lens
past-
is covered in shit.
They can't look past certain iconography, I guess.
So this movie is related to a director who had another movie about some people that go to Swedish land.
Okay.
So the guy who directed this did Midsummer.
Fuck. What is that? Is it the one where they're all like at like a dinner party or something?
No, that's The Invitation. Oh, it's Hereditary.
Oh, okay.
You probably it's the movie. There's like a girl. She like clicks her cheek. Yeah, and then it has like this woman mom. She's like is a Colette. I think her name's Toni Collette. She's fucking great and crazy. And I think I really need to respond to some of these reviews because they're just so objectively wrong. Like everything that happens in the movie all makes sense. Like because I mean clearly these people are like on their fucking phone or something. But like the film, this is a spoiler. It's a little bit of a spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a scene where a lady meets up with Toni Collette because she goes to a grief counseling session because she's had little bit of a trouble with her mom passing and the life that she's led. And she meets up with some lady and then goes over to that lady's house. And what they essentially end up doing is some kind of like, well, it's supposed to be like a seance or something or some kind of like rudimentary magic parlor shit. But what it actually is one of the steps to bringing in a kind of possession or something. Well, at least that's what I thought when I saw it. It's kind of the hard evidence of that in the film is lacking because the scene that proves that is cut out of the film. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's a cut scene actually. So, but you can piece it together still. The film still works with that scene cut out. So, speaking of movies, back in the news, did you see Cats?
You know, I did not see Cats. It's one of the weirder musicals. I haven't really had a chance to see it because, you know, it's never like touring off of Broadway. But I did know that they made a film about it.
Yeah, and I guess speaking of musicals, it turns out a lot of musicals that I thought were good just because I heard the name turned out that they're actually dumb and bad. Like, after all the stuff that I've seen about Cats, not just the movie, but like
Hmm.
the play, I mean, it does not seem like a good play that I would ever want to
No, it's
watch.
it's fucking weird.
And
Yeah.
the same thing with Rent. Rent is like
Rent is so bad.
Rent
I
is
hate
fucking
Rent.
so bad. Has the
I
worst
hate
politics in a
it.
movie I've ever seen.
It's
Like,
so
do drugs and die and don't pay your rent. And then
God.
also pretend that you had a hard life when you're living rent free. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
get the
yeah,
fuck out when you're done, I guess, cause.
Oh, it's a yeah, it's a rough one.
But
That's funny.
so cats had some bad CGI. You know, you're trying to bring it to the big screen off Broadway, and you can't afford all these costumes and shit. You're just gonna fix it in post with a bunch of CGI. But
Yeah, you're really in Hollywood.
so I'm just gonna read a little excerpt here about some of the CGI controversy. A VFX producer, friend of a friend, was hired in November to finish some of the 400 effect shots in the At's Cat movie. His entire job was to remove CGI buttholes that had been inserted a few months before. Which. How. Are the
That's
cat's asses that plump?
that's so funny. Well, I'm just curious.
How do you see the asshole?
Well, I mean, it's like that's like a meme, right? That like cats show you their butthole, like
Wait, is
that's
that in the
like
movie?
well, I don't think so. I didn't see it.
Wait, so you're saying maybe
Like in
the
real life.
CGI buttholes are plot related?
I don't think it would be plot related. I think it's like flavor related. Like
No, okay. I think no. We're gonna go into that. CGI buttholes and cats were plot related, but they had to remove them, because they thought America just wasn't ready for that level of bestiality. I suppose. Is
yeah,
it bestiality if they're humans pretending to be cats? Is that what furries?
maybe it's like riding the line too much. They just
It's
didn't
a
even
little.
want to engage in that
It's a
conversation.
little uncomfortable for me. Speaking about being uncomfortable, Joe Biden is fucking disgusting looking, and he's losing his mind. So yeah, he fucking won Tuesday, and he's gonna be the fucking nominee.
That's so
It's
sad.
basically time to die, as if you're
Hmm.
like any kind of progressive. Although Joe Biden's a little bit progressive on some policies, but I mean, do you really trust that? Like, I love all these people who are like bragging that now Joe Biden is now for this
I
progressive
know.
policy. And it's like, who gives a fuck? What I don't give a fuck what somebody says they're for. I care about their track record. And Joe Biden's track record is fucking bad. Although I think I've already talked about this, so we're not going to go into that.
Hmm.
All we need to say is in the debate. During the debate, Bernie Sanders was talking about response to coronavirus. And he was saying how he was for these things. And Joe Biden, recognizing that he hasn't actually done anything politically to help anybody other than himself, had to then affirm that he was also for those things, and he had always been for those things. So he starts rolling through the same list that Bernie did. And he starts off by saying, I've been for Medicare for healthcare. That's right. He said he would veto Medicare for all if it came to his desk and he was president. But then during the debate, he misspeaks and says that he was for Medicare for all because he was literally just copying Bernie. Good job, buddy. You got it.
So sad, man.
But that's not the worst one. The worst one is when he was talking about the coronavirus, and now this is when they were doing the sob stories,
Hmm.
or the more like emotional appeal segment of the
Yep.
debate, where it was like, oh, just have a nice little whatever thing about coronavirus, and then Joe Biden, he starts a little bad, and he's talking like, I don't know what it's like to lose anybody, but to those of you suffering, under this pandemic or whatever. Which is just, imagine if you are Joe Biden's son or Joe Biden's first wife. Is the second one alive?
It's his first. I think it's his
First
first
wife
wife
died in
who
a car
died
accident.
in the. Yeah.
And I think maybe his daughter died too. And then his son, who went to the Iraq war and had some brain injury and then died some years later. He died, I think, when he was 46. Like, I know what he meant to say. What he meant to say was, people are suffering. and I care about that, and I don't know what it's like for the people who are suffering right now.
Mm-hmm.
But what he spoke is that he doesn't remember his own dead family.
That's like, I find it sounds so hard to believe unless you actually watch it
It
and
was
listen.
fucking. I was laughing out loud.
That's amazing. Because that was like his whole shtick.
Yeah,
Like
if you remember the Mitt Romney, Mitt Romney, Obama, Biden, Ryan. What's that guy's last name?
Paul Ryan,
Paul
right?
Ryan. Yeah, yeah. Paul Ryan election. Yeah,
Yeah.
Biden v Paul Ryan. That was the fucking dagger that killed Paul Ryan in that debate when I think Paul Ryan tried to like do some sob story about getting hit in the back with a wet piece of ham or something. And then Biden was like, "Well, you don't know shit, little kid. My fucking wife
Yeah.
died in a car accident, you motherfucker." So
You call him corn pop too.
yeah, he called it corn pop, and he popped out a can of beans and buffed up his biceps and punched him to death. And unfortunately he didn't die then.
Yeah,
But
I was gonna say no. He went on to be leader of the house.
yeah, became Speaker of the House, which is not good. But at least he's gone now. Thank fuck for that.
Yeah.
What's another segment we can do? What's next? Oh yeah. Oh no, not that one.
I mean, you want to do the viewer grad bag?
Oh yeah, let's do that one. Okay. Do you want to introduce it?
Okay, so a viewer. Oh, it was funny. As a little side note, our last video, someone commented saying like, "Great job, awesome video, keep up the great content." And I commented and I asked them, "Hey, thanks for the thanks for the kind words. Uh, is there anything that you want us to talk about?" And then he deleted his comment.
Wow.
I was like,
He was so embarrassed.
I was like, yeah, he's embarrassed that he was caught watching our podcast, so he
Yeah.
just offed himself. So, whoever, whoever that was, thank you, for this. But another viewer wrote in and asked, what part of your brain does thinking come from? And you know, we're open to all questions, and this one being as I guess broad and vague as it is, kind of leaves it open to, you know,
You can
interpretation,
think
I
all
guess.
over about it.
Yeah, you can, and you can think where those thoughts came from, and
Yeah. So I did some thinking about this question because I'm just not. There's nothing I ever think about.
uh-huh.
And I guess like in terms of associating a kind of like stimulating feeling in your brain of conscious effortful thought,
Hmm.
and then in terms of like spatially locating that in the brain, I guess it's like the frontal lobe,
Yeah.
and then a mixture of like down the line where the two halves connect, kind of like
Hmm.
that.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then I actually have, and this sounds weird. I mean, it's not weird if you know about like eyes and brain, but I have, sometimes I feel like I'm thinking with my eyes.
Thinking with your eyes.
Well, not really. I mean, because like you
I no,
see,
I know what you're
but
saying.
it's,
Like,
yeah. I mean, because your eyes take in sensory information.
yeah,
It's
no,
like,
that was what I thought about it. Like, it really depends what you're like doing. You
yeah.
know, like if it's a sound, obviously you're thinking kind of with your ear, then it's like getting processed in the brain. I think because it's such a broad question, like I don't
I
think
think,
there's one place where like, okay, here's the thought portion of the
yeah.
brain. It's like, what are you thinking about? What are you processing?
Yeah, like I think when if I close my eyes and listen to music, it feels like a whole brain experience
Hmm.
as opposed to like having it on, or if like
Oh,
you're
for
drunk,
sure. For sure. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
which I guess I never really thought about before,
It's
like
because you're not dividing your consciousness, you know, like you're
like
focusing.
experiencing the different parts of my brain. It's a strange. I don't know. This is nothing I ever really thought of. A lot of my thinking's pretty automatic. I kind of just say things and then they come out of my mouth, and then I know what I said by how
Yeah.
people react.
Yeah, we know.
So it's a little bit different in terms of like a conscious kind of thought. But
Uh-huh.
I guess consciously, I mean, I would say most people probably would be the same because I mean, where conscious thinking or the part of the brain that determines conscious or higher level thought is the prefrontal cortex
Hmm.
and the
Hmm.
development of that,
Hmm.
which isn't fully developed until people are like 25.
Yeah.
So it would make sense that if you had a feeling of a place where you think, it would be like the front of your brain. And that's also where I get most of my headaches too, which is like then I can't think because like
Right,
that part of my
right.
brain's hurting. It's
Yeah.
kind of interesting. So that was a pretty good question. At first I was just like, what the fuck is think? I just don't.
What does that mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I just had no idea because like
Where to go with it or whatever.
I just
Yeah.
never.
It's
It was
just
like
nothing
a
you ever
whole
think
new
about.
question.
Well, see, that's the point of the viewer grabbing. That's why
Yes,
we
thank you, viewer.
encourage
Thank you.
that's why we encourage people to submit their questions. I'll never ask anyone for their question ever again.
You
No,
should ask
just
everybody, every commenter for a question.
no, just I was dumbfounded. I was because like
I didn't know
I
they
was
deleted it. I saw the comment. I saw you responded. And I was like, oh, you responded so nice. And I'm like, sure, he's gonna get back to
yeah.
you.
Because I wasn't sure, like, should I, like, be on here saying, I don't know why I thought about it twice, but I'm like, yeah, I'm part of this, so, like, fuck it. Like, I'm gonna ask him, like, hey, do you want us to, like, talk about something? And then he deletes it. Why? Like, okay, well, fuck me for fucking asking, asshole. And if you are the person who asked, I forgive you, and you can definitely ask that question, and you can continue commenting.
You know,
Call me mean words.
that that reminds me of like sometimes I think that I like everybody kind of questions their own ability to do things or I guess like kind of mental fortitude. And
Mhm.
sometimes when I hear stories that like imagine the reality of some person like that who's that shy who deletes their comment. Like
Because they got like added or whatever.
yeah, like yeah, basically like
Not even
whatever
weekly.
whatever I've thought about me pales in comparison to the fucking that guy.
I know. Yeah, well,
You
I
know,
just,
and I don't
I mean,
really.
there's so many like stories that could go behind that. Like, did, did he actually kill himself and then like
What?
his mom like found his YouTube account, deleted it
And then
because
she
like he didn't
deleted it.
want. Well, I guess if I would assume if a YouTube,
Like that was the last thing he did before he died.
he wanted to put out some positivity in the world, so he wrote, "Hey, this is great content, excellent, great work."
Well, that is
And that was very
that was
nice. He
very
kept
beautiful of
he
him, and I would
kept
encourage
going.
nobody to follow through with that guy's what that guy
Example.
did. But it's always great to put out positivity into the world.
Just
But if you're gonna but if that is 100% correlation with being dead afterwards, then just don't do it,
don't do it.
please.
Yeah, don't
Be
be
mean instead. It's okay. You can be mean to me. I
Yeah, no,
don't care.
please be mean to
Yes,
us.
yes, please.
Especially Borley. He actually, I think he thrives off of it.
Yes. Speaking of being mean, did you know the cops kill people every week?
More than that, but we can only discuss it.
Yeah, we can
One.
only talk about one. So here we go. The cops this week they killed a guy who was asleep, and there's a section here about the write up that was pretty good. Let me see if I can find it. Uh, man. Well, anyway. Oh yeah, so they showed up at 4:30 in the morning, and apparently they had a warrant for him, and according, so the detective said that there was like some altercation or some other bullshit, and they had to fire on him. But according to the people who were there that witnessed it, say that that was completely untrue. And what really happened is that the cops just shot in through the windows at the individual that they were there for and his girlfriend who were asleep and shot him and killed him. So, what is the lesson here?
Excuse me.
That's right. When you
The
you'll get the
lesson is
cannoli virus.
yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure I already have it, but I think the lesson is that the cops can just come and kill you indiscriminately, no matter what.
Yeah, I'm gonna be
Your own
really
house.
yeah in your own house. If you are on paper, is the colloquial term paper, um, you know, on probation or parole, you are basically a second class citizen, and the cops have the absolute right to come to your home and shoot you. Congratulations.
We're actually living in Les Mis awful medieval times.
Yeah, it's
Like
you know, Steve
it's
Pinker told me that society got better because the courts started actually being fair and handing out sentences. So I'm beginning to think that's not true anymore. We're actually going to be going back soon. I think that's
Uh,
one of his videos is like about how society's gotten better in
yeah.
relation to crime. Maybe we're getting better in relation to crime, but we're just not criminalizing all crime, aka cops killing people.
Right. Right. Well, it's kind of ironious, right? Like the people who are kind of
Meant to stop
decided to,
crime are here also committing crime.
yeah.
And it's not, and this isn't like a fucking all taxes theft kind of thing where it's like, you know, oh, they had to shoot a fucking guy on a killing spree. Like, I think we
He was
both
just sitting in his
understand the
house. Arrest him.
yeah, I think we both understand the necessity to have to, you know, put down somebody
Oh,
who
for
is
sure.
being violent.
Yeah.
But we're like being a threat to individuals who pose no threat in the immediacy out of, you know, whatever bullshit you're afraid or whatever. Why even go there at 4:30 in the morning? Like,
Well, to get the jump on him.
yeah, I guess, right? He was high risk, which
Like, but that, I don't know. That, well, I've heard like another angle people take it is like, what pussies cops have to be to like, that's
yeah,
your
that is
first
true
line of
too.
defense is
Yeah,
like,
they have
I gotta
they're
shoot him. Like, I don't know. Aren't you like a big tough man? Aren't you a big strong man? Can't you like handle?
the guys are usually the ones who lack the ability to de-escalate and resort to the
I've
aggression.
I've
That's
heard
why
that.
I think if you're a
Yeah.
male, you should not be able to be a cop until you're 35 plus, and if you're a female, you can be a cop at 25
That's a good point. Yeah.
because men have a lot more aggression when they're younger than women do. So, just I mean, as the stats go, most aggressive cop interactions with civilians
Hmm.
is for male cops.
Right.
So,
Could that just
and
be a
men
numbers
usually
game?
become less aggressive as they get older.
Could that just be a numbers game too, though, where like it's there's probably a large number of men that are cops too.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
but I mean, you
saying?
see that aggression outside of just
Oh no, I'm
police
not
enforcement.
disagreeing. I'm just putting that out too.
I mean, there are a lot of male cops, but you know, there's ways that you look at um, data that isn't just like, oh, like you don't like look at the absolute occurrence of something and just be like, wow, we got a lot of violent male cops. You compare that to other things and
Hmm.
find that, oh wow, you know, it seems in this age group with this gender of cops seem to be doing some wrong things. But also there's like it depends on the the county. I forget how the precinct. I forget how cop places
Like
are broken
training or
up.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah. It depends. Like in Dane County, it's relatively progressive in terms of
Hmm.
how they are trained on interacting with non-whites.
Hmm. Hmm. To
But
put it
but
bluntly.
even then, it's still. I mean, they got some problems. Although I don't think it's as bad as Bloomberg's. You know, we got to go into the poor non-white communities because that's where the
'Cause
violence
that's
is,
where it is.
and that's it's not that
So
that's not
this
wrong,
it's
but it's like
handled
you're looking at
differently,
the
but
end
it's
result of bad policies.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you have to view crime as a symptom of an unfair economy, bad policies, and injustice, because that's what crime is. Nobody wants to be a criminal.
Hmm.
No criminal feels good about themselves. Like those are two absolute fucking truths, regardless of what Republicans say.
All right.
What else do we got? We talked about that. We got some more segments, I
Uh,
guess.
is yeah, I think we're through all the news, right? That's pretty
Yeah, I
much
think so. Yeah, so I guess we got the shit take time.
okay, good.
So we have to come up with the most shit take on a question. The question is, how do we help regular Americans economically during the quarantine? Do you want to go first or should I?
Um, okay, so I think we should just mandate that everyone get back to work because the only um you know way someone can cut out a living in this world is, if they're working uh for their, corporate overlords. So these people who are not going to work, just get back to it. What the fuck?
Yeah,
Work.
I think that makes sense because why should we punish corporations for the average American's poor financial decisions to diversify their portfolio? They limited themselves to one source of income, their job. Why didn't they invest?
Yeah, true, very true. Buy land. What the hell?
Yeah, buy land, buy gold, buy land, buy gold, buy silver. Well, actually, no, we have to cut out the land. Land is always a good investment, but
That's what I was like being serious. Yeah.
I was not making it serious. So gold and silver are not good investments. Don't invest
No,
in gold
God,
and silver.
no. I can't believe people still think that.
It's like
It's like,
gold investment is literally fool's gold.
yeah,
Like look at the fucking tracker. It goes up and down all over the fucking place.
I
But
guess.
it's as worse of investment than, or as bad of investment as property almost, or the stock market right now. But like people who act like gold is going to be a replacement for real currency, you're fucking stupid. That's never going to happen. That is never going to fucking happen.
It's like we're gonna be in Mad Max times. And
Yeah,
people
because
are just
nobody's gonna give a
want
fuck about
gold and
gold if
shiny metal.
you know. Yeah, exactly. Like, nobody's gonna give a fuck about gold because it has no purpose other than being shiny. Like it's weighty, it's weak as shit. You can't do anything with it other than just show it off.
You can't even use it as a weapon.
Exactly. Other than throwing it at somebody, but even then, you'd be better off with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's my take. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest problem right now with the economy? Everyone's in their house. Nobody can go to stores. Stores are shut down. Nobody can buy things. We need some way to take the goods from the stores and bring them to the people's homes. What was Obama's favorite tool to deal with his problems? Drones.
Oh God, that's so funny.
We used the drones
to
do care package strikes on things that people order on Amazon or from the local restaurants.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, we used the drone. Obama loved drones.
He loved them.
And
so
we're going to
much.
use those same drones to make sure that people can drop their
Indiscriminate
packages.
When
you clear out a Walmart parking lot, do you know how much space there is? We could launch tons of drones. And then that way, Walmart employees, they won't be complaining about people coming in and coughing on them because nobody's going to be coming in. They just load up the drone and then away it goes. And then the people flying the drones, we can employ people. We can save the economy because of how many jobs it'll create by people flying the drones. And you can learn in your home.
You're going to have a lot less PTSD flying those drones than the killing brown people drones.
Exactly. I think that makes the most sense.
I think you're onto something. I think this is really what we need. What do you think about Trump's latest grift saying that we should give everyone $1,000?
I mean, I think any kind of money investment is necessary, but I think it's funny. His trajectory to it is pathetic. I got a thing sent to me. Let me pull it up here. It was it's Trump's varying opinions over the course of the outbreak. Let me pull up. It's a little graph here. So as more,
because initially it was like, this is
so back in January, or no, this is about February, somewhere around there. He said, we pretty much shut it down coming in from China. It's going to be fine.
So funny.
And now these are in subsequent order before even 1,000 infections. So then in February, at the end of February, he says, so this is a month, we're going very substantially down, not up. So he's saying we're getting less infections. Then about a few days later, one day it's like a miracle. It will disappear. A few days later, and this is their new hoax. So now it's a hoax. So now this one is about like 10 days later. I think we're doing a really good job in this country at keeping it down. And that's where we got about like 100 maybe infected. And then I think this is about literally the next day. I don't need to have the numbers double because of one ship that wasn't our fault. So at first, we totally took care of it. Now, it ain't our fault.
I know, yeah.
And then he's just like, he's moved on to pleading at this point. It will go away. Just stay calm. It will go away.
Ah,
Just stay calm. It will go away. Okay. Okay. And then a
good.
few days after that, when we have
We did
like
it.
6,000 infections, national emergency.
It's just like,
And
but
then
I just remember.
the final one is the best one. This is like about 15th. I've always known this is a what? This is a real, this is a pandemic. Wow. Great English. He's always known it was a pandemic. He was always aware.
He probably was, but he just didn't want
Oh,
people
he was definitely
to
aware. He just didn't give a
be,
fuck.
yeah. It's
Because
just like, it's just sad because I remember hearing people. I mean, honestly, I hate I hate to say it, but like I remember seeing other like organizations like in Canada and stuff, people freaking out over Corona like months ago, at least 1 month ago, and then it's like now we're just worrying about it here in America because it's like hitting us, but like I've been seeing people like worrying about this for a while, and then I would hear people like more recently saying, "Oh, it's no big deal. It's nothing. It's fine."
yeah, that
But it's
was
like
the
I
trajectory
can't
of one of my coworkers actually.
I can't believe that. And I'm not like in total like freak out mode, like stockpiling my house, but like I don't know, this is a thing. Like it shouldn't be spreading.
Yeah, taking some basic
Some
precautions,
yeah,
trying to cut down on interaction,
yeah.
taking those precautions, and we can only hope that places actually do that instead of
Well, there's
like,
some
oh hey, come to
workplaces that
work. My place of
aren't.
employment is not handling it in a way that I think is intelligent at all, and really it just and part of it's the DOC's fault, but
So then what do you do about that?
oh
Like you
well,
just keep
we
keep
cut down
going?
we cut down. Yeah, I mean, as a regular worker, well, I guess you just
You're like
keep
between a rock and a
going,
hard place.
you
Because
keep
like it's
going to work.
putting
Well, I didn't go to work today because my wrist hurt, and I made up a little bit of a story saying I hurt it when I was changing the tire, but my wrist just hurt anyway, and
yeah,
I don't want to
yeah.
have to do some stuff and then like hurt it more because I broke it when I was younger, and sometimes
Yeah.
when it hurts, I just can't really do
Yeah.
anything with it for a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like we don't live in a country where I can just be like, oh hey, I'm having some kind of thing
I
I need to take
know.
off. Like
Yeah.
I have to come up with some
You have
kind
to
of
make
event that
up a
happened.
story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which is
Because
like,
you can't just have an issue and take off work that isn't like
without
a
getting
fucking
fired.
event. Like,
Yeah.
oh, my car got hit
Yeah.
or some
Yeah.
other shit happened. Like it's always got to be like that.
Yeah, because of the aforementioned skeleton crews. And
Yeah,
then there's just more pressure on the average worker to just keep coming in, regardless of anything going on. Your life doesn't matter.
yeah. And like I don't know. I don't want to. I'm right-handed. I don't want to injure my wrist or my best hand
Hmm.
just to come in because oh no, we don't have enough people or whatever.
Yeah,
Like
not your problem, dude.
yeah, but this is the situation American workers find themselves in, which is why being an American worker sucks ass and needing paid sick leave for all employees. Because I mean, how do you say, oh, you work part time, you're not gonna get sick?
You're not as important.
Like because what a
You're,
lot of places do was well they'll underschedule you to avoid having to give you any kind of benefits, and then they'll
hmm
also
hmm
uh, schedule you in ways that like this is something that came up in class. This one lady who she just was kind of ignorant, but like there was a scheduling conflict. We're reading the story about this girl who had to struggle with employment. And she was employed at like not like a Starbucks, but some kind of like franchise like that did coffee or some shit. I don't really know. But the problem with the schedule, it was like just like they had an automated schedule maker thing that just like put her on there, and it's like, well, she can't get out there all the time because she has a
hmm
kid and she has to schedule like she needs to know beforehand, but they
Yeah.
weren't like
Yeah.
it just wasn't working with her,
The
they just didn't give a
humanity
crap.
was taken out of it.
Yeah, and then the one lady was like, "Oh, that's such a good idea because you can schedule people automatically and make
Uh,
sure certain things are getting taken care of." But from her perspective, she's like, "Oh, because that's how it works at the VA. Like we have workloads that come in and it's divided among the employees, and it's like, yeah, the difference there is that there is work to do and you're going to be there and it's divided among
yeah.
people. These are shifts that will need
Right.
to be covered, and they don't give a shit when you can come in or whatever. It's going to be like you're going to
Yeah.
work first shift, you're going to work second shift, you're going to work some kind of mixture of that shit." And they don't give a shit about the schedule of your life or raising a child or anything like that when you're
hmm
like low income and super poor. and that's the problem. It's like you have places of employment that have no, they just don't give a fuck about their workers,
Yeah.
and those places should be incentivized to care about them, but they don't, because that cuts in their bottom line. They don't want workers that are difficult, and they don't want to have to invest in a society that produces workers that aren't difficult either.
Right, right, right.
Corporations are the most selfish, shittiest bean the Americans ever shot out of their fat ass.
They have rights though, asshole.
Yeah.
So you can't say that.
Yeah, corporations have
Corporations
rights.
are
They're
basically
they're
people,
double people.
okay?
They're
yeah,
double
better than
people.
you.
They're definitely better than me.
They're
Okay,
the
so
greatest.
so the best corporation, of course, then is egirl.gg because it connects you with a fellow female to play video, or male.
Follow
You
me.
can pay for their time to play a video game with you. So I guess we should do our No Way Out segment. So
Okay. Well, do you think that describes e-girl enough? I
what else is
guess.
there to say? I mean,
I
you're
guess. Yeah, it's just well, it's just I feel like it needs more credence. This is such an amazing time we live in, dude. Okay, egirl.gg is a service where you can rent a girl to play video games with you. That is so it's like e-prostitution without having sex with you. It's just like you're paying for their time, you
yeah,
know?
it's
That's
e
so
companionship, but it's
that's
just kind of
so
it seems rather
funny.
it seems a little pathetic. I mean,
It's
I
so
mean, they're pretty
pathetic.
cheap,
It's
so I mean,
super
I would do it out
pathetic.
of morbid curiosity.
Dude, it's so sad. No, I mean, hiring a prostitute itself is pretty sad too. But like, but okay,
Well, I mean,
uh,
it depends on what
go
your
ahead.
perspective. Like, I mean, I want like, what is this person like that's doing this? You know,
I think
like, are
we
they
would,
boring?
I think we would be a good duo.
Yeah,
Like,
we would be the
I would,
greatest
people should hire us if you want to hire us to play video
e
games.
friends.
We'll do it, dude. We'll be your e-buds. All right.
Yeah, we play Dota. We play
Play a menagerie of games. It really doesn't.
we play Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, that's the best one.
That one's the best one.
I mean, honestly, anything. I'll learn League of Legends. I don't give a shit. There's a lot of people on that one.
Yeah, I played the League of Legends game. The game's so
Girl.
different. I can't figure out. When I played it last, I literally couldn't tell what the fuck was going on the screen because like the UI everything was different, and I just honestly couldn't tell like what the fuck was going on.
Well, that's kind of what's nice about Dota. Like the UI, the UI hasn't changed since it was on Warcraft 3.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Although they moved the health bar to the bottom of the thing, and I don't think they ever moved it up, did they? I don't like that one. I forget. That was after they had like one rework a while ago, where they condensed.
Oh, I think I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they cut out the side parts on the bottom between the mini map and then the skills.
yeah.
Yeah, because they used to have like
Oh,
just
that's
like a
right.
flat bar
Yeah,
across the bottom.
yeah.
Yeah, because that was like the Warcraft 3 UI. It was just like a huge
Mm-hmm.
block of shit at the bottom of the screen. And then they were like, "Oh wait, we don't need this down here. This isn't Warcraft 3."
Yeah, we can just do our own thing. We can go our own way.
Yeah, just like men, we are
Like
going
all
our
the
own
brave
way.
men.
Okay, so
Okay, yeah.
what do you got? You got to talk or no, that's the first part. You got to woo an e-girl so that she'll play more games with you for free. So well, hi Fontleroy. Thanks for buying my game service. I can't wait to play the game with you.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Ling, Ling Ching 420. I'm so happy that we were able to play. You seemed very you were well recommended. You got a lot
Did
of
you look at
up.
my pictures?
I looked at every picture you had. I listened to your little blurb in the on the profile. You sounded like a lot
Oh,
of
you
fun,
read
and
my bio?
I read your whole bio.
What was your favorite part?
My favorite part was the part where you were talking about the games that you like to play, and
Oh, I love games.
yeah, me too. I really liked the silly cat meme that you put in your profile. I was confused because I thought that was you for a second, but
Oh,
I
it's
realized
I love
realized that
filters.
I do too. Thank you so much for adding me on Snapchat and not just Snapchat Premium. That was so good of you.
Oh yeah, I haven't made one of those yet.
Yeah, you should really look into it. It's Lot of money can be made from that, I guess. So I've heard.
Oh, you know about making money?
I know a lot about making money. Do you wanna learn some tricks of the trade from me? Maybe we could like, I
Tricks
don't
of the
know.
trade? You're a rogue. You play World of Warcraft. I can't. You pick my pockets. I can't trust you.
Well, I am pretty sneaky, but I definitely am not a dashing rogue. That's a really deep cut,
Rogues use
Ling
sprint. They don't
Shay.
use dash.
What was that? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
They use sprint.
Yeah, they do use sprint. Uh, I'm a
My
T-Mobile
phone's through T-Mobile.
and myself. But all jokes aside, I know we're still on the clock here. We just finished our game of insert MOBA here, and
Yeah, you did a
great
good
job.
job.
Yeah, thank you. I think you did a really good job too. You were the best support. That was
Oh yeah, I like playing
excellent.
support.
Yeah, I know.
It's
You
so
were
I like playing support because I can text my boyfriend during the game.
Excuse me, you're what?
Oh, my boyfriend. I was texting him during the game. When I wasn't laughing at what you were saying. He's really funny.
Bitch, that's a mistake.
What?
I told you, you ain't gonna be texting no boys during our session.
What? No, you gotta. Did you leave an upvote on my page yet?
Not if you keep telling me these awful revelations. The more I hear about this, I think that I'm just gonna have to cancel the service altogether. I'm gonna have
No. Here,
gonna
how
have to get
will we
you.
play some more games?
Okay, well, we can play some more games, but I think we're gonna amends are gonna have to be made here. We're gonna have to
Yeah, you
ameliorate
can teach me
ameliorate
about the Snapchat premium.
this.
I want to make some
Okay,
money.
okay, to ameliorate the situation, you're going to have to play a couple games with me off the clock, if you know what I'm saying.
Uh,
All
yeah,
right.
that sounds good.
Okay, done deal. I did it. I got out in the no way out situation.
Do you think? I want to hear that conversation of like somebody like they're playing the game, right? And
Fine.
then they're maybe like they lose, and then the guy's mad, and he starts threatening like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking downvote you on the website," you
Oh, like,
know?
sure. And then she's in that awkward situation where she has to like pamper his ego.
Yeah, right. Like how fucking
The
awful would
weird
that be?
dog shit. I mean, it's like it
Can you
sucks
imagine how
enough.
awful it is to be a woman and like having to deal with the fragility of male ego online?
I mean, it has to be hard enough in real life, and then like
Yeah, that's true. I mean, guys are biggest fucking whiners.
fucking babies, dude.
Yeah.
But having to deal with it like online, like part of like it's part of your job. Like I think about people who play competitive games like I don't know like CS:GO or like Dota or whatever, where it's like if you play with like a group of friends, like having those friends that like get like just really fucking mad at like everything. That has to be the worst situation. That like do you like talk them down? Do you calm them down, or do you just like leave them? Like how do you remedy that situation?
Uh,
Do you know what I'm
well,
saying?
I had a friend like that. He would get really mad. We would play Mass Effect 3, which was a co-op game online
Oh,
where you had
that's
to, it was like a wave defense thing
yeah,
basically.
yeah.
And he would basically run around and try to like just Rambo and die. Like he would always die in every fucking level. Like cuz you would have like, oh, level 1, here's these invasions, level 2. So
Yeah,
he would
yeah.
die in every level and he would run around like a lunatic. And he would say people who didn't run around like a lunatic were like,
Are idiots.
were
Not
beta
helping.
idiots. Well, this was before beta, so he would say they were like,
Right.
maybe he said they were like virgins or something. I don't know,
Yeah,
or
yeah. Whatever
cowards.
the
And
comment thing.
I would just I would just autopilot like, oh yeah, what a bunch of babies, as I'm doing the same thing. Or sometimes what I would do is I would follow him around and like help him because like if I didn't follow him he would die. So like I
Yeah,
would follow him and help him,
yeah,
and then he wouldn't die. So
yeah.
then he wouldn't be
That would
like,
validate it though.
yeah, yeah. And then I would not follow him, and then he would die. And then he'd be like, "Oh, these these fuckers aren't coming to help me. They're not resing me. Goddamn college is just sitting behind a wall." And it's like, well, yeah, it's a cover-based shooter. But I wouldn't say that. I would just be like, "Oh yeah, what a bunch of cowards. I'll be right over there." As I'd be on the other side of the map.
Yeah.
It's like I have no way of getting over there.
It's so funny.
It was just the funniest shit ever. Like, it's a co-op game. He's like around like a lunatic.
Like, yep, you're right, dude.
And then sometimes he's like, "I gotta drop the party and yell at these losers," and he would start screaming at him, and like I can hear him in the game chat, like, and then he's like talking like louder because it's like broadcast like through a megaphone.
Yeah.
He's like, he would like scream their names and be like, "Come and rise me." It was, I don't even know. He was not very good, but it was pretty funny.
Well, that's entertaining at least.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just like, you just want to get the mission done, and other times you're just like, I can't get the mission done, but at least I can have a laugh, I guess. Yeah, I couldn't have, but like, if I were a girl in that situation, I just like, because like there's also like an added expectation of like being this emotional
support.
Yeah, I was gonna say like sponge or something, but I don't know. I don't think it's, maybe it is a sponge because like you get squeezed.
You take that,
and then you gotta the seeping out emotional juice gets slurped up. They drink your gamer girl support water, essentially, and then you're all like dried and dead, and they're like, "Oh wow, why can't you support me anymore?" It's because you're just so shitty, and you've just like you've used up all the good compassion that the individual had left, and now you're dead and alone, like a real good emo boy should.
Best way to be, the only way to live.
Yeah, the best and only way to live. Well, we did it. You got your way out. You extorted the gamer girl.
Oof,
with your upvotes. I don't even know if that website has downvotes, but I think you can tell. You can tell when they don't have upvotes because the amount of times that their service has been purchased should be 1-to-1 with how many upvotes they get. and if it's not, then there's something scary going on there.
Mm-hmm. They're probably nothing like their picture.
Yeah, that or they're not like coddling enough.
Yeah.
I would hate somebody who like is like overly like, "Oh, hello, I'm so like kind of good how this started out." Like I would hate to meet that person. Like, how can you pretend to give a fuck so much,
Yeah. There are some people that are really good at that though. It boggles my mind. I'm playing a game of Boggle every time I see it.
Yeah, you have to, because you have to try to find the words that explain the situation, and it's impossible. I feel like that level of emotional labor is just something I could never do.
Yeah,
like putting that much out there, and because it's so much, like the more effort you put out to that kind of emotional labor in just talking to somebody has to, in many ways, feel disingenuous because it just doesn't feel possible to be genuine, to be that genuinely nice, or to have that ability to be that way. Some people are.
I was gonna say maybe that's just like
very
our
rare
bias because we're not that. I don't want to say we're not that nice. Like, I don't know.
Just depends on what you're typing in the chat, what you're pinging out.
Yeah.
We need wards now. Shove this ward up your ass.
Do we have time to talk about kid stuff, or do you want to just save that for next?
Oh yeah. What's a good story about our personal histories?
I feel like that's a treasure trove.
It is. Well, actually, you know what? Why don't we develop a segment on it and leave it for next time? Because I'm actually unsure. But yeah, so for next time, we'll go into the personal histories of Borley and Fauntleroy and how they survived high school by buying
idiots
Boston cassette tapes and super kawaii Kawasaki Desu.
Oh my god, our poor partner for that.
Yeah, that was the best. Oh god, that also reminds me of the partner but he's a character for another time. Well, thank you for listening. We did it. Do you want to say goodbye to anybody?
Okay,
You want to say
goodbye,
goodbye to that guy who commented,
I
right?
was just gonna say, yeah, goodbye everybody, and especially goodbye to the individual who deleted his comment when I messaged you.
Well,
Or
his
I
mom,
comment
because she
comment
deleted it, right?
What?
Well, you said he died, so then his mom deleted the comment, right?
Yeah, I hope his mom comes into, like, is just seeing what he was up to and finds this podcast and is
And,
an active listener.
and that she can understand her son better.
Yeah, she's like, oh my god, if this is what he was about, no wonder.